Phoenix. Ramble. ASMR. And today is my last day about talking about my filming for my short film Flowers. This is day 4, and this is the day that we added on and had a skeleton crew. So yeah, and this is the day actually right before, this is actually the day of when I shot this video about we wrapped. So although I'm describing it here, take a look at that video if you haven't to actually see, how I was actually feeling afterwards. I was extremely tired. I was just on such an adrenaline rush for 4 days. It was wild. And this last day had a lot at stake. That's loud for a lot of different reasons. This was a day that we added on. We were supposed to shoot for only 3 days, and this was an add-on day, and this was potentially one of the last days we could get any of our footage before for like 2 months, and I'll get into that. But we filmed day 4 on Tuesday. What day was it? Let me see. I think it's Tuesday, November 15th. It was a skeleton crew, which means that it was just a really small crew of people. And we started our day at noon, and we went back to the park that we did the other day, the day before, and we filmed the tree scene. And so, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around, but the reason that this was so important to grab is because my DP, the person who has the camera and the equipment, was leaving. This was Tuesday, was leaving Thursday to go home for Thanksgiving, and he wasn't going to be back until January. Now, I also am going home. I'm going home on Wednesday, in a couple days from now, and yeah, but and I also won't be back because I have to do an ear surgery, which I can talk about later, which is a little scary, in December, so I won't be back in January. So this was our only time, basically, to get all the footage that we didn't get without losing continuity, right? We didn't want actors' hair growing out, we didn't want, them getting different freckles, like all that stuff. So, we're there on day, we're there, and it's so funny, we had such a small crew, but we had the times right now on our shot lists, and we basically just went go, go, go. We did a bike scene first, and then we did the tree scene, which is at the end of the film, which went really well. I was watching, and I was like getting emotional, on the day when I was behind the monitor. It was very cool. So we did that, and then we moved we were there from 12 to, I think, 2, and then from 2 to 2:30 we moved to this neighborhood to do on Saturday. On day 1 of filming, we didn't do these bike scenes, so we did the bike scenes, and that was interesting because we were on in Mar Vista on a street. It was called Queensland Street, and this is kind of cool because if you watch the film and you ever go to LA, now you have where all the locations are, so you could go visit it actually if you wanted to. But we filmed on the street, and we didn't have a permit. Again, we don't have permits for anything. But the nice thing about my location job is I have safety vests, so and I'll show you what that looks like. Stand by. Okay, I am back. This is a safety vest. So we have to we usually wear safety vests when we're out on the street in public, we don't want to get hit by a car. So thankfully I had 3 of these that I gave to Miles, who was shooting in the street, me, and then also just another crew member. But it was also nice, so we had a small crew, but our issue for most of filming was our AD was lacking, who's all about time management. It was nice because the AD on the set, and who's also helping Gav and stuff, was my roommate Nico, and he never done it before, but my roommate Nico, who I live with, we've been friends since high school. Like, he's my high school friend. We're from the same hometown in Massachusetts, and it's nice when you are working with someone that you know, because he wasn't afraid to get mean and like not aggressive but assertive, and that's what you need. You need someone to be like, nope, we can't do this, Nick. Like, we need to move on to the next shot, and that's what he was doing, which was great. So we got to the street, and the street segment was going to be the most time sensitive because it was supposed to be 2 scenes that happen at dusk. So, and we can fake it in post with color, but we were losing sunlight. But we basically did it all, and we got it all really, really great, which was awesome. And then we even had a little bit of time to spare, so Miles like had a one wheel, which is like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's like one wheel and it's electronic, and it's almost like you're standing on it like a snowboard, but there's a wheel in between your feet, and then you kind of like can glide down the street. He went on that, and then he did some B-roll, which B-roll is like, I think I should look this up, but I think it's like you have different roles. So like maybe A roll is like your first, and you have A camera, B camera, but A camera is like main footage, and B-roll is supposed to be like a filler. So it's basically like, sometimes you want filler stuff, you know, for pacing in the film and stuff. So this was B-roll, and yeah. And then I ordered Caesar's pizza again, which I've never had Caesar pizza, but I had it twice on this production. It was actually really good, and I ordered it to a house on the street, and then I just picked it up from them before they rang the doorbell. And then yeah, so we did that, and then after that, Miles and I, on day 2 in Glendale, we were supposed to shoot a street scene, which is when Eddie and Josh basically have their mental breakdown in the middle of the street. We couldn't go back to Glendale, so on that night we had to scout a new street and shoot on it at the same time, and we went around. But what was funny is, like, where we actually ended up shooting was right where we filmed the bike scene, so we basically stayed put, and we just like turned the angle so it looks like it's a different street. And then this is kind of when everything went to booby boom. It was dark. When you're doing night scenes, you need a lot of light to capture the actors and to capture moonlight. My DP, Miles, was telling me how our eyes as humans are amazing because we can see low light and highlights all at the same time and with clarity. But in film, and cameras, you have to usually choose what you're seeing, what you're losing. So it's either you're seeing the highlights and you're losing the low light, or you're seeing the low light and you're losing the highlights. And what's hard is, in a perfect world, you want balance, right? You want balanced light. But when you're outside at night, all we had is a street lamp, and so you need to create a lot more light to balance off that light, so you can get information to the camera that you can then, work with in post, change the coloring and all that. The lights that we brought was Nico's. He's an actor. We have these like soft lamps, and we brought them, and we charged batteries, but the batteries were dying faster than we could have ever thought because it was so cold out. And it got to the point where we were doing our wides and the battery would die, and so we got the footage. But then when we were doing the close-ups, and there's a scene in this where Eddie breaks down, and we were shooting him, that coverage of it, and our light was just dying every like 10 seconds probably. So, and it was hard because on top of us, like, we couldn't shoot a lot of takes because our light was dying, right? So I think we only got 2 takes of that. But on top of that, Mike actor had to be drenched in water, so he was drenched in water, and then the light would die out, and then we'd have to reset and go. So he was just freezing cold, and I could tell he was getting angry, and I felt bad. I was trying to put like a towel on him, and he was literally just like, let's just get the shot, like, I just want to be done with this, all this stuff. I don't think he said I want to be done with this, but that's kind of the vibe of it. So we were really rushing, and we kind of rushed the end of the scene, which made me feel bad because, I always want everyone to have a good experience, but I also want to make sure we get the coverage we need. And do I feel rushed? Yeah. Do I think we got it? Potentially. But I was talking to Miles, and I think this might be a place where if we would need to, we would do reshoots. I hope not. I hope we have enough coverage of it. But yeah, we we had like neighbors walking down. And if you ever do a short film or anything, the way to get locations and film on locations is when people walk by you, you need to acknowledge them. Okay, this sounds weird. You need to smile. You can't pretend like you're not there. And that's like usually your instinct is you're just gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna pretend they're not here. Don't do that. You want to engage with them. When someone's passing by, you want to look at them in the eye, smile, and say, hi, how are you? Give them the opportunity to ask questions, because if you create a connection with them, it's less likely that they're going to call FMLA or anything. Because the reason people call FMLA is because they don't have connection, which is like the permitting people. They don't have a connection to you, and they just find you annoying. But if you can counter your annoyance with what you're sharing the story and being really nice, people are usually pretty giving. And that's because a lot of the major productions like Warner Brothers and everything, they don't do that. They usually have a huge footprint, and crew members don't acknowledge the public. They just do their own thing, and it can be really frustrating if you're the public walking around like your neighborhood where you live, and then there's suddenly all these people like intruding on your space, not being considerate of you. So there were a lot of people walking by, and I would make sure I'd smile and say, how are you tonight? And all of that. And so it went really well. There was this lady with a dog that ended up chatting with our crew with Miles for probably 10 minutes, and they were just talking about life. And Miles told me later, he was like, that was so nice, like she was so kind, and you get really kind people. And that's the fun part of the experience, is like you meet a lot of different people too when you are filming all outside. But yeah, so the scene, we wrapped it, it was really rushed, but we got the shots, and then we wrapped. That was the last scene, or we really ended our day on a dirty, the hat being ruined in the street with water and peanut butter. But yeah, and then we called it a wrap at 9, and the actors, they all left, and then Miles and I stayed back. We chatted for an hour about what went right, what went wrong with our film, and it was really nice getting his opinion. It was kind of interesting. Our relationship was very much like a married couple. I don't know if you ever experienced this in your work, but it was interesting. We went into this planning together and basically spending every night together, and we joked about Miles was like, Nick, it would have made this so much easier, because we were on day 3, on Monday night, he's like, if we slept over, I should just slept over here every night. And I was like, yeah, sleep over high school days. Because the thing is, we were seeing each other every day, talking to each other every day, and it was a lot of trust. Okay, Miles and I talked about our vision, but at certain points I had to just trust that Miles knew what he was doing, and Miles had to trust me that I knew what I was doing with the film too. We'd get disagreements, and I'd be like, Miles, we need to move on. He'd be like, okay, I trust that, we don't need that. And there'd be other times where Miles would cut the film, and I'd be like, why'd you do that? And he's like, because it wasn't usable. And I'd be like, okay, I trust you. It's a lot of letting go in the moment when you're filming. There's a lot of stress and stuff, and you just gotta be like, I'm gonna let this go, right? I'm gonna let this go off the bat. And I think I did that really well and stuff. Let me think, what notes did he give me? I think some notes that I was realizing was, this was the AD, but I realized that I was not controlling, but I got a little stressed, and I would show it sometimes with time management, because I didn't have someone on set doing that. I was a little verbal in front of actors sometimes about whether the shot was good or not, which when I do next time, I need to create a buffer. Actors are so sensitive, and I know this because I'm an actor, but also when they're performing, you need to protect it. You need to protect them from crew and from time management and everything, because although we might be feeling rushed, they can't be feeling rushed. Yeah. And then my only thing for Miles was he did cut in the middle of a roll, which you're not supposed to do. Only I'm really supposed to do that. Well, maybe not, but yeah, it felt a little intrusive. But that was it. It was overall really good. We worked really well together, and then he came over to my place, and we basically, yeah, I'll put in a photo right here of how messy my apartment was. It's a terrible. bed the next day. He came over, he got all his equipment, and I cleaned my apartment for like 3 hours because it was so dirty. And yeah, and then I got sick, which is unfortunate. That happens when you're going really fast and your immune system dies. But yeah, so I was sick yesterday, Friday. Friday, wow. And then today's Saturday, and I have a lot to do today. I need to pack up everything and reship everything back to Amazon, and wish me luck because it's a lot of money. I hope I get it all back. And yeah, and I've just been resting. I've been just so resting, so tired. And then tomorrow I think we're doing our poster shoot with the boys, which I need to prep and figure out exactly what we want. But yeah, so that's kind of the whole process. I hope you enjoyed this little ramble. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions about, the process, or like anything I didn't go into depth about that you want to know, just leave a comment down below and I'll answer it. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I hope this was relaxing and that you're having a great night or day whenever you're watching this. And if no one's told you already, you are so loved and appreciated, and you deserve the best in your life. Whatever you're holding yourself back from right now, give yourself permission to go for it, because life's too short and you deserve to take risks and live the best life you deserve, So yeah, if you like this video, please subscribe. Think about liking it and commenting. It really helps the YouTube algorithm with us just creating a bigger community. I would love to create a bigger community that's interested in entertainment and positivity and kindness and just good people. And I would love to have a community in the future